creative man. And put him in control. Watch him become a god. I fucked up the beat. Watch people's jive and roll. Come on, motherfucker, let's jive. See what that was a play on the song, Megadeth song there. You take an artist, man, and let him do your artwork, yeah. And then, I guess the feller hasn't been paid. Welcome back. Well, I guess I'm just talking to the YouTubing folks right here because they can see this image of one Dave Mustaine and the tagline that says Megadeth is being sued by the sick, the dying, and the dead cover artists because they've done the artwork. They haven't paid the bill. They didn't pay the dang bill. Welcome one and all back to another episode of Jive Talkin. Let me tell you something. You're handsome, you're beautiful, you're sexy. I love you because if you're hanging out with me, then you're the best of the best. You're the creme de la creme of all the rest. And I thank you so much. You can watch this on YouTube. This is where we get our comments from, which I have all set to go here from the previous episodes. So if you would like to take part in these episodes, it's very simple. You just watch this, as painful as it may be for you. You watch it on YouTube and you comment below, and then the following episode, we read those. You can watch this or listen to it on Spotify as well. But let's get right into the meat and potatoes of the situation, my friends. Dave Mustaine ain't paying the damn bills. He can't blame this on James Lomenzo. He's only been back in the band a year or so. He can't say, oh, I gave James the money. He didn't get over there to pay the guy. No, this is all on Dave Mustaine. So I wanted to find out. I did do a ticky-talk, but they're only 60 seconds. So let's get into this and find out. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the artist who created the artwork for Megadeth's latest album, The Sick, The Dying, and ... and The Dead, has filed a lawsuit against the band claiming he hasn't received pay or credit, that's interesting, for his work. In the lawsuit, which was filed on February 3rd in the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of New York-based illustrator and designer Brent Elliott White, who has previously worked with Trivium, Job for a Cowboy, The Delightful Death Angel, and The Delightful Arch Enemy, among others, says he was contacted, he didn't contract anything, but he was contacted in early 2020 by about creating a design concept and artwork for an upcoming Megadeth record. Which would be the third Megadeth LP. He has been involved in designing and producing the artwork. I hope they put that down there with the other albums where that he did. It's probably some of that mid 2000 stuff. In mid-April 2021, Megadeth had settled on the concept and artwork that would become the basis of the cover of their new album, now titled The Sick, The Dying, and The Dead. Around this time, White says he was asked to create cover art for an EP release, which he also worked on. On June 22nd, 2022, 5B artist plus media CEO and Megadeth manager Bob Johnson told White that Megadeth had been working on costumes for an upcoming tour and required additional renderings of the artwork chosen for the album cover because the stage decoration for the tour would be based on the album cover art. The lawsuit states, by text, White reminded Johnson that he still did not have a written contract with Megadeth and had not been paid for his work. I know album release time is hectic, but I have to mention that any send-off, including album art, is contingent on compensation and contract. So we're going to have to sort that out soon. In response, Johnson told White, first song drops TMRW. That's what the kids call tomorrow. But assured no one intended to not have this papered by now, and he would bring it up the right way. On June 23rd, 2022, without a signed agreement with White in place and without paying White anything for his work, Megadeth released White's artwork and, shockingly to White, according to the lawsuit, credited Megadeth frontman Dave Mustaine for the album's art concept. And he says, no, man, I just want to see Vic Rattlehead. I want to see him doing something crazy. I want to see him shooting a machine gun or something. That's something really cool. That's the art concept design. Because Dave's just going to tell you, I want to see, Vic Rattlehead doing something cool. That's not really art concept, is it? The next day, White reached out to Megadeth record label Universal Music Group complaining, I still don't have a contract or payment from UMG, Universal Music Group, for the sick, the dying, and the dead. ... Bob Johnson reached out yesterday and he said he left it with UMG. I assumed someone would reach out to me to have this done before the album went out. Now, the artwork was released in conjunction with the single and album pre-sale on social. Megadeth's website, Rolling Stone magazine, none of it is credits me. Not a mention on social media, and no credit in the article. We don't have a contract or art release or usage agreement. Not trying to get legal here, but since we don't have a rights transfer agreement, copyright does reside with me. And he's right. After the artwork was released, Megadeth attempted to force White to accept the same terms as for the first Megadeth album he provided artwork for, according to the suit. White never agreed to these terms and had expressly told Megadeth before the album artwork was released that this arrangement would not be acceptable. In late 2021, White gave Johnson a breakdown of the time he spent. This is going to get good because I see numbers. Working on the album artwork to date, which totaled $21,500. Johnson agreed to the amount, but only if it would be for a total buyout of White's intellectual property rights. What that means is they want to hold all of it. He has no right to print that anywhere, do anything with it. It's their artwork and whatnot. And that's an agreement that they can have with each other. It's neither here nor there. White refused, and when he gave Megadeth a price for buying out his intellectual property rights, with carve-outs for ways in which White had previously told Megadeth he expected to be able to continue to exploit his artwork and profit from it, Megadeth refused to agree to those terms. So they shouldn't have used his artwork, period. Including White's buyout price, still with no contract or usage agreement in place with White. But keep in mind, they've already released the album or the single, right? So this conversation is being had after the fact, right? Still, with no contract or usage agreement in place with White, Megadeth released The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead in September 2022. White is suing Megadeth, Universal Group, and others for copyright infringement, is asking the court for an injunction that would stop Megadeth and UMG from using the artwork. Wow, this is going to get hairy. He is also, I bet you they're already working on it. I'll bet you anything Dave Mustaine's going, I don't care. Take that guy's artwork and tell him to shove it in his robot. He is also seeking damages and disgorgements of profits. Is there a number on here? This says 18 pages of PDF. I would just like to know. That's all there is in the story, but I'd like to know what the lump sum is, because it's going to be, all right, it was $21,000, but now it's $21 million, okay? I know you guys get sick. I know Miss Althea, she's like, Jesus, with the kiss and the lip sync and doing this and doing that. But I thought this was an interesting story and I wanted to read it. Kiss longtime manager addresses Paul Stanley's lip sync accusations. Now, you've heard of Sinkin' Stanley, because I saw his name pop up. Where'd it pop up at? He's a YouTube guy. And he goes out there and he's hitting these people that have the... that are doing the lip sync. He did that. He was the guy that asked Blackie Lawless and got him to go, well, do you want to know the truth? Yes, I do, backing tracks. Let's get into this. Kiss longtime manager Doc McGee. What? His parents love him, they say. My God, that's Doc McGee. I hope his whole name's Dr. McGee. has defended Paul Stanley's vocal performance on Kiss's End of the Road tour, explaining that the star child fully sings to every song at every concert. Ever since Kiss End of the Road Trek launched in January 2019, there has been persistent online chatter, and I'm guilty of doing it, about Paul allegedly singing to a backing tape. The speculation stemmed from the fact that Stanley had been struggling to hit the high notes in many of the band's classic songs for a number of years. Here he is speaking to Sinkin' Stanley YouTube channel before Stanley's February 4th appearance at Wentworth Galleria in Boca Raton, Florida. McGee discussed claims that Kiss is using pre-recorded tracks during its farewell tour. He said about Stanley, he sounds like I'm a lollipop kid, not a lollipop kid. He sings every track, so he sings to it. I'm not going to do that. He sings every track, so he sings to it. So he's not lip syncing. Okay, he sings every track, so he sings to it. So he's not lip syncing, he's fully singing. It's enhanced. It's just part of the process to make sure that everybody hears the song the way they should be sang to begin with. Nobody wants to hear people do stuff that's not real. That's not what they came to hear. When Sinkin' Stanley asked McGee to clarify if he is actually saying there are backing tracks that Paul is singing to, Doc said he'll sing to tracks. It's all part of the process because everybody wants to hear everybody sing, but he fully sings to every song. Boy, that's a word salad. That's a guy selling you some snake oil under the tent, right? Oh, this will heal everything for you. You got rheumatitis? That's some word salad there. Last June, a rare mistake by Kiss drummer Eric Singer during the band. I don't know if we covered this exact thing or not, probably. Last June, a rare mistake by Kiss drummer Eric Singer during the band's concert in Antwerp, Belgium, revealed what some fans were saying was proof that Kiss is using pre-recorded tracks during its performance. I know we've talked about that and showed that. They clearly are using backing tracks. No doubt about it. Several Kiss fans who attended the group's June 6, 2022 show at the Sport Palace shared video of Kiss kicking off the set with Detroit Rock City, the classic song that has consistently served as the live opener for the band's live performance in recent years, and for the majority of their years, right? At the end of the track, Singer, who has played with Kiss on and off since 1991, apparently forgot to rest for a measure. Yeah, I know what he's talking about. It's right before the do, right? If that makes any sense to anyone, myself is going, Christ, I don't know what the hell that is. What's duggity doot? With Kiss, since he forgot to rest a measure, according to YouTube commentator Austin Oganowski. Ooh. Instead, continuing to play the standard beat for 2 additional measures. After Eric realized he messed up, he began the drum roll breakdown a measure late, which meant Paul's vocal track was out of sync with. I really should have prepared this video so we could watch it. With what the band was actually playing. Austin explained, "My mother named me Austin because she said nobody had that name." No. Paul's track played Everybody's Gonna Leave Their Seat completely out of sync with the song and when nobody was at a mic. 4 years ago, former Skid Row singer Sebastian Bach, here he is, he gets up in the biz. And guess what we're doing this week, if I'm remembering correctly? We're doing that Falling in Reverse song. Remember when we did the story about the guy that looks like Sebastian Bach and the laptop falls on his head in the video? We're doing it, okay? That's a spoiler alert. During its farewell tour, saying that Stanley sang his ass off live during a concert in California. I have seen way more obvious use of backing tracks than with Kiss. Oh yeah, we don't even want to get into Fozzy. We're going to stop it there because Jericho, we've touched on all of that too. Do you know an old timer named Graham Bonnet? I saw this article and says, what? I mean, Graham Bonnet, he's a damn fine singer, Alcatraz and all the goodies. He's working on stuff with Arch Enemy's Jeff Loomis. I am totally down to hear what this is going to be sounding like. Arch Enemy's guitarist is working with... Let's find out. Legendary rock singer Graham Bonnet has confirmed that he is collaborating with former Nevermore and current Arch Enemy guitarist Jeff Loomis. That's not a bad resume. Nevermore on a new album, explaining that the LP will be totally separate from what he is doing with his Graham Bonnet band. Graham revealed that he and Jeff have already written 6 songs so far. It's just a matter of getting a deal for that, actually. That's what we're doing. The 75-year-old vocalist told the Mike Nelson Show, we're going to do like a demo track so we can play it for somebody, the usual thing. What do you think? Bonnet added, Jeff is a great guitar player, and I am very proud to work with him. Back in June of 2021, it was announced that Loomis would be joining Bonnet's version of Alcatraz. Oh, okay. It is not presently clear if the material the two musicians are working on will be released under that moniker. Bonnet, is he calling it Graham Bonnet's Alcatraz, or has he got the name? Maybe they'll tell us here. Bonnet previously described Loomis as a powerhouse of musician and brilliant writer and a great guy. His skills are unparalleled, and I am thrilled at the prospect of recreating the magic of the early days of Alcatraz, but with modern, heavier sound. That might be something. If you go back and do the hits, but they're nice and heavy, but it's got... that might not be bad. When I first heard Jeff, I said, by God, he sounds like an angel. I want to take him into my boudoir. And I want to kiss him. No. Hold on. Sorry. When I first heard Jeff, I was astonished by his technique, coupled with his great feel and incredible melodies. I just realized that I haven't been doing an English accent or whatever for Graham, but that's fine. When his addition to Bonnet's version of Alcatraz was first announced, Jeff commented, I'm super excited to be working with Graham Bonnet. I even bought a bonnet and I'm wearing it all over the house. I've been a long-time fan of his vocals and lyrics for many years, and it's going to be an honor to craft some amazing music together and play some select live shows. That means let's not get too busy with it. You don't need to be chewing into my freaking, my arch enemy time, okay? I like you, but you're 75, okay? Another fun nugget here, Static X. I just saw this today. Static X have released a version of the song Terrible Lie by Nine Inch Nails. I was just listening to Pretty Hate Machine yesterday, and then this pops up. And if that wasn't neat enough, it's got I think it's got the posthumous vocals of one Wayne Static on it. So I wanted to read it. Static X announced release date for Project... Oh, this is the wrong thing. Shares a cover of Nine Inch Nails' Terrible Lie. So this is what it's coming from? Project Regeneration Volume 2? Okay, that means it's going to be a covers record, right? We're going to find out. After the successful celebration of the 20th anniversary of their seminal sophomore album, Machine... A major North American tour supporting Rob Zombie in 2022, multi-platinum selling industrial music icon Static X have announced their 8th studio album, Project Regeneration Volume 2. The LP is a collection of 13 brand new songs that contain the final performance. Oh, this will be interesting. The final performances and musical compositions of founding vocalist Wayne Static. This record will sell. Along with the original Wisconsin Death Trip lineup featuring Tony Campos, I can't say that, Kyoichi Fukuda, that's Kyoichi Fukuda on guitar, Ken J on drums. The new album was produced by Static X current vocalist guitarist Zero and mixed mastered by longtime collaborator Ulrich Wild. The new album is scheduled for release on November 3rd. That's pretty far out. And is now available for pre-order at static-x.com. in various configurations, including limited colored vinyl, limited shirts, hoodies, and more. The first single released from Project Generation Volume 2 is a cover of the Nine Inch Nails' Pretty Hate Machine classic track, A Terrible Light. A Terrible Light. I'll be interested to hear what that sounds like. You get in the comments below. Tell me what you think of it. Let's see. The reimagined version features vocals recorded by Static, along with an epic music interpretation created by the original lineup and their producer, Zero. Wayne's vocals were discovered as part of a series of damaged audio tapes the band uncovered a few years back. The band's unique interpretation retains the electronic feel of the classic Nin song, while injecting it with signature energy of Static X and their evil disco sound. Is that what they go for? They're not nu metal, they're evil disco. A music video, we got to do this. A music video for the single, which features Static project behind the band, is now available and can be seen below. The video was directed by the album's executive producer and longtime friend. Who can it be at the mixing board? Edsel Dope, who is also believed to be touring and recording with Static X as Zero, and co-directed by Matt Zane. Is that Billy Zane's brother? All of the music associated with the Project Regeneration Volume 2 is the result of collaborations between the four founding members along with their new vocalist, guitarist, producer, Zero. Man, it gets close, doesn't it, with that Edsel and stuff. The video was directed by the album's executive producer and longtime friend. And then you got down here, you know, he's whoever this guy is, he wants to get it in there. All the music associated with the Project Regeneration Volume 2 is the result of collaboration between the four founding members along with vocalist, guitarist, producer, editor, video master, Zero. No additional guests appear on the album, and there were no outside contributions to the songwriting, musical composition, or the performance on Project Regeneration Volume 2. Between the two releases, Static X fans around the globe have been treated to over 24 brand new songs, most of which feature Static on lead vocal, and all released after his untimely passing. So he was a busy dude in the studio, at least, before shit kicked off. What's going on with this? Come on now. And then, before we get into your comments, I wanted to read a little bit about this because I saw this amazing video of Paul Gilbert. We love Paul Gilbert, right? He's done everything. He's a master. This image right here is what we're going to be watching after we read this story, because he's got a freaking doghouse, a stand-up acoustic bass on his lap, and the dude is shredding it like a guitar. It is absolutely amazing. Another thing I'll say is this guy seems like someone I would love to have a beer with and hang out with. He just seems like a down-to-earth damn dude. Paul Gilbert to celebrate Ronnie James Dio on the Dio album. On April 7, 2023, Paul Gilbert will release an album celebrating one of heavy metal's greatest icons, I can't agree more, when he releases the Dio album via Music Theories Recordings mascot label group. To get a taster, check out Gilbert's can't they say the word mesmerizing? Or is that a word? Mesmeric take on Holy Diver below. It was pure chance that led Paul Gilbert to record the music heard on the latest release, the Dio album. The American guitar virtuoso, best known for his masterful fret in chart-topping hard rockers, Mr. Big. I was telling myself this when I was in the bathroom earlier, and it just popped into my head when I was thinking about how cool that little video was of Paul Gilbert. I really want to go see Mr. Big. I've never seen him, and if they hit a tour, because they are talking about, they're saying, hey, people are going to shit in their underpants when they see who's playing drums. It's probably going to be Mark Portnoy, if we're being quite frank about it. But best known for his masterful fretwork in chart-topping hard rockers Mr. Big and high-octane trailblazer Racer X. as well as numerous solo records, was in his car when he saw something that made his heart start beating faster in a moment of unexpected, unadulterated joy. This was not a high-value item of interest or even particularly rare, simply a baseball cap with the word Dio emblazoned. I just figured that word out. Emblazoned across the front. Sometimes, even the biggest of guitar legends, it's the little things that hit us in the most profound ways. He saw that Dio hat and he said, I need to do a Dio record. On his drive home, a plan was being formulated. Why not capture all of that raw energy and excitement on an album devoted to Ronnie James Dio's most celebrated tracks, spanning across his career with Rainbow, Black Sabbath, and the band Dio, right? And the singer's own solo endeavors. Gilbert is no stranger to instrumental music, but an entire album dedicated to replicating well-established and world-famous vocalist melodies on his trusty six-string genuinely felt like new territory. This was already shaping up to be a challenge that he would truly relish. So he's going to rip the guitar solo, and it's going to be basically equivalent to Ronnie's vocals. I want to hear this. It sounds like it's going to be pretty interesting. It would be fair to say human voices don't come much more magical than Ronnie James Dio. 100% agree. He was a man who brought a sense of classic finesse to loud and heavy music, ultimately laying down the blueprint for generations and generations of rock singers to come, taking on the daunting challenge of mimicking those distinguished vocal lines down to a T. Each legendary performance decorated with its own idiosyncrasies. I just learned that word. And because it says idiosyncrasies, I know that's going to be nuance. Idiosyncrasies and nuance actually involved unlearning some of the technical precision that turned Gilbert into a household name for guitar players in the first place. The Dio album consists of 10 standout and career-defining tracks from Neon Nights and Long Live Rock and Roll, Holy Diver, and Man on the Silver Mountain, as well as analyzing Ronnie James Dio's electrifying vocal melodies. Paul also enjoyed paying tribute to 3 incredibly talented guitar legends. He's brilliant. He's got it all figured out. Tony Iommi of Black Sabbath, Richie Blackmore of Rainbow, and the delight, Vivian Campbell of Dio, who has been a member of British Stadium Rockers Def Leppard since 1992. So there you have that. Let's watch this dude.
Wait, I need some more distortion. Or what?
That's a stand-up bass. And it don't have frets. I can watch this dude do this all day. I mean, I'd check the album out if he was just doing this the whole time. He hits an amazing run here. Amazing. It is time. You can go watch the rest of that. There's only about a minute left on it. And then he holds up the album and he says, hey, go check this out. Sounds like a great guy that you just want to hang out with. And that would have been really cool to sit and watch him record that, record all those bits and pieces. Time for your comments. The greatest, most best portion of the program here. And we got Miss Althea at the tippity tie. Oh my God, Miss Althea. Is this a Stephen King novel? I did see Stephen King in there. No, Stephen Piercy. Here we go. The Dumbstuck Fool says, grab a cocktail for this one, darling. Ozzy basically has no choice but to really, really, really mean it this time when he says he is done with touring. It could be literally life-threatening with all he has been through recently. It is not like he has not had an amazing career that has spanned 4 decades, and he's been nominated for, I believe, more than 1 Grammy, and he won 2 this year. This year, for crying out loud. So yeah, I think Mr. Osborne can leave the building, snarky and mean about it all. What? See, I'm bad with this going. This is why I don't read, because my lines, my eyes don't want to hit that next line. I think, or maybe it's I should read more, and then that wouldn't happen. I think Mr. Osborne can leave the building. Leave the building. Okay, so she was done with that. While Bruce Dickinson's 2018 statement about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame were extremely harsh, I mean, he is entitled to his opinion, but did he have to be that snarky and mean about it all? I do have to say that I think the venue should change its name to the Music Hall of Fame. Yeah, or something else generic, and get the words rock and roll out of there. While it is true that the term rock is very broad and includes many subgenres like blues, right? Subgenres and styles, I think the matter of nominees has gotten to the point of beyond hair splitting and honestly questionable. In my opinion. Hopefully that did not sound as disrespectful as what Bruce said 5 years ago, as that was not my intention. Still miss out the here? Speaking of disrespect, oh, what a lead-in. R.I.P. Phil Lynott. Thin Lizzy to this day is very underrated. I agree. And not to speak ill, but the guy was an addict, and I am sure he said what he said to Joe Elliott while he was under the influence. There were certainly much bigger, much more serious issues at hand, like the fact that he was an addict that busted up Thin Lizzy. So was he an addict, drug addict? I know that he hung out in some, like he's Scottish, and he would always hang out in these like particular pubs and shit, but I don't know what he was all hopped up on. Def Leppard's success with Pyromania was the least of his concerns, yes. Still miss out the R.I.P. Cliff Burton, and kudos to his family for giving back to the community. I have only recently gotten better acquainted with OG Metallica. Never got knee deep in them back in the day. My thrash taste lean more towards Anthrax and Megadeth, but have been enjoying revisiting material I either initially did not think much of 30 plus years ago or did not know at all. And in related, amusing to me tidbit, I was trolling a couple of ex-Japan fan boards the other day, and of course there is always a ton of chatter about deer hide on those things. I hope I didn't miss a bit there. May he rest in peace too. We got the whole graveyard here in this episode. A topic was put out there along the lines of, who do you think Hyde is jamming with in rock and roll heaven? Oh. The overwhelming number of responses for a bass player happened to be Cliff Burton. They got good taste. I assume no one said Taji because Hyde played with him in life. Then someone chimed in with, Eric Carr has to be on the drums. Yeah, you love your Eric Carr. I totally busted. Y'all know Eric was the love of my life. I mean, he was a good-looking dude. Do you like the hairy chests and stuff like that? The Paul Stanley, Eric Carr, get under there, change the oil kind of hairy chests type of fellers? And according to the Asian Zodiac, Paul Stanley ain't getting under a car to change the oil, but, you know, he's got the hairy chest for it. He did, as a younger man, look like a guy that would, you know, change your oil and stuff. But according to the Asian Zodiac, Happy Chinese New Year. Is it Year of the Rabbit? He and I would have been perfect match. No disrespect to my husband, Den, of course. Yeah, he's watching you type all this out about your love for Eric Carr. Still miss Althea. Are we sensing a RESPECT theme with my comments so far? RESPECT, find out what it means to me. RESPECT. Suck it to me, suck it to me. She even write that. Suck it to me, suck it to me, suck it to me, suck it to me. You knew I was going to do that. While I do not care about CJ Snares junk, who's that? As a female, am I missing something? CJ Snares junk? I feel obligated to contribute to the topic. Either the guy could financially afford to overcompensate, or maybe he simply got some socks in the pants. Oh, okay. So that's Firehouse guy, CJ Snares. Okay, we're reading this again. While I do not care about CJ Snares' junk, as a female, I feel obligated to contribute to the topic. See, it's so much better when I know what's going on. Either the guy could financially afford to overcompensate, or maybe he simply got some sock in the pants advice from Stephen Piercy. Really? Have we seen an uptick in his bulge too? The balls drop when you get older, it's like, that goes back to Mr. Belvedere, sitting on his balls. But those of a certain age may recall that was a debate of the ages back in the day, only to have Piercy add insult to injury to it all when he posed for Playgirl magazine and didn't show it. Really? Peter Steele, and I know you guys all know this, Peter Steele, lead singer, rest in peace, Miss Althea, rest in peace. He's dead too. He did Playgirl, but he said he would only do it if he could be erect. He said he wouldn't do it if he was just sitting there eating a bologna sandwich and with his drawers down. He wanted to do it, And then I heard that it really tore him apart after he did it. He was, they got a lot of fans that didn't care so much about the music, but cared about taking a peeksy doodle at him. Pants advice from Stephen Piercy. Those of a certain age may recall the debate ages back in the day, only to have Piercy add insult that did not show his junk. What he did choose to show wasn't anything to write to Aunt Tillis about. She's got me. She knows Aunt Tillis. Trust me. Yet somehow he still had sex appeal out the wazoo. Weird. Yes, I bought the issue and I still have it. Don't judge. Have you ever tried to get it signed by him? I'd love to know that. Still Miss Althea. And here is a Stephen Piercy Ryan Wade connection. In that Piercy, total honesty, unapologetic, outed himself as a Durant. In that Piercy totally, honestly, unapologetically outed himself as a Duran Duran fan, meeting in his autobiography. He looked up to them as style icons and highly admired Simon Le Bon as a frontman. He has a hilarious story of meeting Simon when Rat was just getting off the ground. The whole book is fantastic read. I barreled through it in a couple of days when it otherwise can take me months to get through something. That would be an interesting read. I would love to hear Stephen Piercy do the audiobook version of his book. Did he do that? Get that in the comments. Tell me. Still Miss Althea, just a little public service announcement for those who view your videos on an actual computer or laptop and not a phone. The search function in the video tab of the channel is invaluable. Okay. Last message here from Miss Althea. Love the nod to Marilyn Manson's Dope Show for the closing, and I cannot help it, and it must be said, the color and style of Manson's hair on the cover of Mechanical Animals album was a tribute to Hyde. Really? I think that is a very creepy, futuristic, weird, but awesome looking album cover. Mechanical Animals was a tribute to Hyde, ex-Japan, who had passed away later that year in 1998. A few months before the album release, it was in the works for Hyde's band with Ray McVeigh and Paul Raven Zilch to open for Manson on that tour. I don't know why I just pushed that button like that. And what the hell was that? Oh, that was the last episode. Yes, indeed. What is Zilch? Is that another guy? Ray McVie and Paul Raven Zilch. Okay, so it was in the works for Hyde's band with Ray McVie and Paul Zilch to open for Manson on that tour. I need more. You're getting the heart, you're getting the thumb. Oscar Salvador, and again, everyone, I need you to pay attention that it is went back to the at things. I don't know why. Oscar Salvador, I've posed questions to various people over the years. I have not got an answer. As I always preface, perhaps it is not my business. Does anyone know how Bruce Dickinson's wife died in that tragic accident, as he described a few years ago? I had no clue. I knew something about the passing of a wife. I knew nothing about tragic accidents. So I'm bated breath to find out, and no, I'm not hitting this one reply. I am guessing it was an accident. It was well documented. Bruce was dicking around, pun intended, and living with his girlfriend in France. Statistics say women are more likely to overdose on Valium or Xanax with perhaps a splash of booze to wash the pills down. Men tend to blast their brains out. No. That would never be an option. No. And don't do that. If you're feeling sad, if you're feeling down, and I can't do anything to get you out of your funk, please speak with somebody about that, because it's no joke. I've had friends that they've done the big suicides, drug overdosing, and all that stuff. Just don't do it. Okay? Still, Oscar here. I don't appreciate Bruce's stereotype. So, are you kind of saying that you think the wife may have said, Jesus, I got to listen to this guy fucking blather on every day? You know, he's going on about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame at the, eating eggs at the table, and she's like, I got to get a bottle of booze. Statistics say, okay, we got that. I don't appreciate Bruce's stereotypes and epithets of Americans, nor his goofy man bun. I heard there is still a $10,000 reward to whomever can cut it off. His man bun? The bounty of Scott Ian's facial hair rose to... Are you serious? This was like real stuff? Is that the dark web? The bounty for Scott Ian's facial hair rose to $15,000. So someone was willing to pay just to fucking assault him by cutting his beard off? You know, I remember Scott Ian. I met Scott Ian when I was just a young lad on the Fabulous Disaster Anthrax and Halloween tour. We chased the balls for Anthrax. All of them played stickball out at this fairgrounds where they were playing, and we were running and chasing all the balls. Not chasing their balls. I know you guys are going to go, oh, you're over there chasing their balls to get on the bus, are you, Shane? No, just their stick balls, okay? Smart ass. Ryan Wade coming in here. Okay, he's gonna. Sarah Bareilles sang a Carly Simon song, dude. She was so. Just before the girl you were referring to. Thank you. Okay, Olivia Rodrigo. Please stop what you're doing right after this is over and go watch Olivia Rodrigo do the "You're So Vain" from Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She is so incredibly irritating. We're going to read this again. Sarah Bareilles sang a Carly Simon song at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame just before the girl you were referring to, Olivia Rodrigo, who is cute but lacks any sort of onstage charisma. That's what it was. That's perfect. Onstage charisma. It was like a high school talent show. She was a bore on SNL as well. So she was like the musical guest. Still Ryan Wade, there is one aspect of Sebastian Bach that I enjoy. His fandom of his musical heroes. I love when he reveries, Kiss, etc. Am I getting that right, reveries? But otherwise, he is just too much. Should I keep my fingers crossed for a deep dive expose on the Firehouse frontman bulge? You must go full on private dick. I mean, the jokes just write themselves, don't they? And present us all with the evidence. The people need to know if his fire hose is real or not. I mean, I'm the man to do it. I feel like if there's anyone that's going to do it, I'm the man to do it. Jason Bateman played Rick's friend Derek on Silver Spoons. Didn't know that. He was a bit like Eddie Haskell, okay, from Leave It to Beaver. I cannot believe you brought up the movie The Champ. I have never cried harder in my entire life. And yeah, my mother did die. But, oh, I'm sorry to hear that, my friend. And yeah, my mother did die, but Ricky Schroeder still wins, even though he's a major nightmare as an adult. Speaking of crying over kids in sad movies, Miss Althea may need to help with this one. Gary Coleman was a shoeshine boy in one of those after-school movies. He may have, how's that for a contraction? This guy's good. Remember we did thereof? May have. This guy's great. This guy's good. Been homeless or orphaned? Another tearjerker. Gary Coleman. I gotta watch that. Gary Coleman as a shoeshine boy, and please tell me it's when he's a little chunky cheeked. You know, when he got older and he got ugly, you know, he was like, oh, you're all lumpy and you're growing into a man and stuff. They got that cute little fella, Sam, to come on there. Little bowl haircutted, red-headed cowboy kid. And it was never the same because then Gary Coleman stopped popping in over at Philip Drummond's house. He's like, yeah, you got that little redhead bastard now. You don't need me around. Yes, indeedy. Good job there, Ryan. Well done. Mike Buchanan coming in. I truly think we have seen and heard from Ozzy for the last time. It's sad to have said that. I wish him good health for many years to come. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a joke, and how they induct bands into the halls. There are so many deserving bands out there that haven't even been nominated, and many that have and don't get it, and many that have made it that shouldn't be in there. Now, having said that, I do recommend going on and seeing it. Recommend going and seeing it. I, too, got to see Cliff perform on the Ozzy tour. There's a high five for you. Unless you were in New Jersey to see that show, you weren't at the same show. I was not. I'm out on the West. He was a master of the bass and a huge driving force behind Metallica's music. The band really started changing after his passing. So Captain Stupid is my online persona that I got from Suicidal Tendencies. Yeah, now it all comes together. And the song, Gotta Kill Captain Stupid. Gotta kill Captain Stupid! Go check that out, and fantastic tune from one of my all-time favorite bands, yes. I've mentioned the story before very quickly about Suicidal Tendencies before I knew who they were and knew that I had to hear them, when there was a guy that was thrown through a plate glass window at the concert and had casts on both of his arms where both of his hands were shredded, that I knew, and he said, this happened in the pits at the Suicidal show. And I was like, well, I got to hear that. Can't say I was looking at CJ's dingling during the concert, but he did bring up a memory of that show. And I think I brought this up before, but can't remember. Has to do with one group of drunks trying to get me hooked up with the two ladies that were next to me, and me telling them that I was married and explaining why I was there alone, because my husband hates this kind of music. That was the last time the drunks spoke to me. I mean, that's a great way to do it, right? You just say, yeah, my husband, they say, oh, okay. Drunks trying to, so there's two drunk dudes, and they got ladies with them, and they're trying to pawn them off on you. In my house, I get an orchestra concert nightly. My son plays the flute, piccolo, violin, piano, harp, viola, and cello. Disclaimer, not all at the same time. My God. He's some kind of what do they call those? A prodigy? Chess wizard. I sat through it's like 4 episodes of The Queen's Gambit. And I was like, I get it. She's going to make it to the championships. It was pretty good, but I had to stop. I was just like, yeah, I get it. She's going to win the championships. Good job. Glad I don't get drums. Not at all the same time. Glad I don't get the drums. Yeah, that's a racket to put up with. My mother can attest to that. You have to be a special kind of person to just sit there and hear some somebody beating on them things that doesn't know what they're doing. And even when they do know what they're doing, you can listen to the most amazing drum solo coming out of your son's room. But after a while, you're trying to watch Jeopardy, and that shit irritates. And now, Jive Talkin' Jokes of the Week. What's made of leather and sounds like a sneeze? A shoe. I thought I did that one pretty good. The salesman at the furniture store told me this sofa will seat 5 people without any problems. I said, where the hell am I going to find 5 people without any problems? That's pretty good. I told my girlfriend she painted her eyebrows on too high. She looked surprised. What's the difference between roast beef and pea soup? Anybody can roast beef. That's true. You can't piss soup. I went to, and I just got that joke just now as I said that. So I don't think that I'm really smart because I literally just went, oh, pea soup. I went to a psychic. I knocked on her front door. She yelled, who is it? So I left. Remember that scene in Poltergeist when she comes up the stairs and she's saying, where is your daughter's room? And then and the dad's downstairs and he's got his eyes closed and he's acting like he's thinking, right? And he says, what are you doing? Answer her. Answer her. And he says, she can't do it. I'm trying to make her read my mind and she can't do it. She says, I can read your mind. I don't know what the hell she says, but I love that movie. It's fantastic. And Zella Rubinstein is fantastic in that movie. This house is clean. And she really did. I guess she really didn't, right? She just, I won't spoil it for you. If you haven't seen it, go watch 1980-something's Poltergeist. And finally, a shark can swim faster than me, but I can run faster than a shark. So in a triathlon, it would all come down to who is better on the cycle. Who is a better cyclist? I think you've got it. I think you've got it there. There's a heart. And I do get a thumb. And Jolly Jake Lavelle coming in. What? No Blaze Bailey on the list of inductees? That's very true. And he's already got 3 thumbsy-upsies there. He's getting another one. Now I got to give everyone thumbs now. Because you can't not, the Ryan, there's your thumb. I give Mike Buchanan one. I didn't know I did. Okay. And there we go. Yes. Yes, indeed. So we are done there. All right, everybody. Get out there. Seize the day. Breathe deep. Do some touchy toes. Say hello to someone that you never thought in your life you'd say hello to. You'll be surprised when they say hello back. And then you go, oh, well, that wasn't hard, was it? All right, let's see. I don't know what we're going to do here, but we're gonna freestyle that. Oh! Oh, I like that. Oh, yeah! Oh, yeah! Come to Jive Town. We'll limbo all night long in the Jive Town. We're jiving all night with the hard rock and heavy metal Limbo Town.